And welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Really excited about this local Orlando business that we're going to be talking to. We have executive chef and partner Greg Richie here from Soco Restaurant in downtown Orlando's area, Thornton Park. Welcome, chef. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, John. It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Really excited to do this. So for those that are not familiar with Soco, could you tell us a little bit about the restaurant, kind of what you guys are about, a little background?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're Soco Restaurant. We're in Thornton Park. We've been open for about 5.5 years now. Soco, we're Southern contemporary cuisine. So basically, we take Southern concepts of food and then we kind of elevate them to be more modern, a little more contemporary. That's where we get the contemporary. So sometimes it's not always takes on Southern food classics, but sometimes we'll take maybe a French dish and make it Southern via our application of procedure techniques or sometimes fusing it with local Southern ingredients.
Awesome. Yeah, I know I've sampled that a couple times myself and definitely a big fan. How long have you guys been there?
Yeah, about 5.5 years now.
Okay, awesome. So as far as what's going on now, we're in the middle of the COVID pandemic. Obviously, restaurants across the country have been impacted a lot by this. You guys, I know, had kind of had to shift just at the drop of a hat what you're doing business-wise. So how did you make the decisions that you were going to make, and what sort of implications with going to that to-go method did you guys find?
Right. Yeah, like all the other guys, and probably not even just the restaurant industry, but in other industries, we had to kind of reevaluate and kind of rewrite our business plans overnight. So our first concern here was our staff. We were really, we're like a family here, and we just wanted to make sure that we could do the best thing for them first and foremost. So we kept on everybody that wanted to keep working. We kept working. Some people didn't want to. They volunteered. They didn't feel comfortable working, and we were good with that. And so we did the takeout thing. For as long as that was what we were able to do, we did takeout. And so we would bring in servers, and we switched to started doing delivery. We would have our staff taking out deliveries. Kind of rewrote the menu so that we had family packages, whether for 2 diners or for 4 diners, and we would have that kind of. We had to kind of streamline the menu, obviously, because we couldn't have everything that we used to have. Just for you got to be able to manage that small of amount of product. And that's kind of how we lived for a couple of weeks. We definitely worked with more people on staff than was fiscally responsible, but it was more family style responsible. I don't know quite the best way to say, but we wanted to take care of our people. So we would have a bunch of staff on, and to make sure they were getting some money coming in. That was our main goal. And so as they've started to loosen things up, and first we went to 25% occupancy. That was great. We just rolled with that, and some people, they're still not ready to come out to eat yet. So we've just kind of gradually adapted to the situation as it's opened. We've kind of said, we've stretched our menu offerings. We made some new changes. Going back to when we were only open for to-go food, we started doing like wings every day, chicken sandwiches every day. People love that stuff, and maybe that's something that they'd want to eat every day if they didn't want to eat like a full, nice dinner. We just wanted to make sure that we had something for them, that we wanted to stay part of the community. Some of the stuff we were doing community-wise is, we did a family meal for restaurant industry folks. So if you worked in the Orlando area and you worked in a restaurant and hospitality business, we made dinner for you one day, chicken pot pie, stuff like that. We've tried to give back to the medical community, the frontline responders. We've gone and cooked for a bunch of nurses in the ICU units over at Orlando Health. So we were just trying to be a good members of the community during all this, take care of our people here in house, and give back to those out in the community as well. So that's pretty much where we are.
That's fantastic. I think that attitude also permeates through your staff kind of, where for those that have not experienced it before, you've really kind of brought in that culture of the family type environment in the restaurant, which I think is very awesome. I mean, I think that everything you stated right there really plays into it.
Yeah, thanks. What we do, we're really proud of our staff. We've got a great group of people here. Like I said before, it's very much like a restaurant family. And, we attract people of that mindset. And, we encourage people to just, it's like Southern hospitality. So when you come here, we want you to feel like, what, where I feel really comfortable here. The environment is never anything. It's not, even though it's a nicer restaurant, it's not pretentious or stuffy, nothing like that, so we want the staff to exude that kind of sense of welcome. You belong here, and we're glad to have you.
That's awesome. So recently, since you've shifted, you touched on it, back to some in-house dining. I know you guys have that amazing patio outside, and then you've expanded it a little bit.
Yeah, we're so excited. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the new patio, we're really excited for. Years now before we actually started this process before the pandemic happened. And so we already realized that there was a need for that. And now more than ever, there's a need for that because people seem to feel dining out is more preferable to dining inside right now. So, we have a huge brunch following. People love our brunch. We do it on both Saturdays and Sundays. And so, nobody likes brunch better than outside, it seems. So you want to sit on the patio and drink a mimosa and have some good brunch food. Now we've nearly doubled the patio space over on the bar side. Now that one's on Central Avenue, Central Boulevard.
Yeah, just thinking about it right now, it's kind of making me hungry and wishing I was out there and enjoying some of that right now.
Well, we got those Pop-Tarts I think you're a fan of. They change every week. Homemade Pop-Tarts, of course, for me, my general go-to is kind of like biscuits and gravy with a couple of eggs on top of it. But we got a little something for everybody, whether it's, house cured salmon and, steak and eggs. We have shrimp and grits. I mean, all the stuff that you need, we have it right here. Avocado toast, that's one that's going crazy these days. So good.
I don't think I've ever found this out. So let me ask you now, the Pop-Tarts, is there any inspiration to how that came about? Because they are fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, we started doing brunch like 2 months or so after we initially opened, way back when. And I just wanted to create a brunch menu that was exciting and different and compelling. And so I'm pretty sure, I don't know if anybody that else was doing Pop-Tarts way back then. There's some other places doing them now, and then I'm sure they're very good as well. But when I started doing them, it was just what's going to be cool, what's going to be a little different. And that was just kind of the whole concept. And what we did was we never wanted to do anything that was just like obvious. We always want to do something that was kind of, oh, that's clever. Oh, that's fun. That's kind of, different. Mm-hmm. And so that led to the Pop-Tarts. And it changes every week. It could be savory sometimes. Sometimes it's savory. Sometimes it's, people seem to love berries the best inside of it, though. I could put chocolate or peanut butter or something inside of it, but everybody seems to always a little bit happier with blueberries, strawberries, simple things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was last weekend you guys did a lemon one too, which I was just like with a little lemon zest. It was off the hook. It was amazing.
Lemon curd. That was a really good one. If you're a lemon fan, that was really good. It had that tart tang for the lemon, and that bright acidity is very, very just the smell of it it was like a clean smell.
No, absolutely. So up until everything started over the last couple of months, I know it seemed like maybe almost once a month you all were doing kind of a specialty dinner where you would team up with either a winery or a different type of bourbon or something else. And those all seem really, really fun.
Those are one of my favorite things to do. And like you said, we were trying to do them monthly, and we would do wine dinners or beer dinners or bourbon dinners or Scotch dinners or any type of thing like that. Sometimes tastings. whether they're wine tastings, bourbon, liquor tastings, something like that. So we always did a kind of a thing. It was a fun thing, a communal thing. And we would do it in our back little semi-private room. And it's a great little space. Put 20 to 25 people in there. It's not too big. It's manageable. Everybody's in one room, not spread out. And so everybody can just kind of, you meet new friends that way. And since the thing we're in now, well, that's kind of changes everything. So right now we don't like, gee, are people going to want to be, close to, like, that's certainly not socially distant. It's 20 people at one big long table. So it's yet to be seen how that's going to evolve. I really hope we can get back to a place where that sense of community can kind of come into one room, because really ultimately that's what it was it was a little small community of people, and there were some people that tried to come often. There might have been 30% might be people that were almost always there, and then the other people all rotated out, and it was cool. You got to experience new things. That's when you really got to know some of your guests on our end of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That community aspect, I think, is really important. And whether, from personal experience, whether you're sitting at the bar or at a table, like those of us that attended the 5-year anniversary dinner, that was just a really cool experience, where the table next to you would just start talking to them. It was just a very hospitable and friendly and open environment.
That was such a fun event. Yeah, we invited some guest chefs, some of my colleagues from around town. We had Chef Patrick Tramontana. I hope I didn't mess that up just now. he's the chef out in Antonio's in Maitland. He's an all-star. I had my friend Chef Vinoy, that was over at American Bee Kitchen. He's an absolute monster. Also, they just do great food. And then I think some of the very, very best pastries in town are coming from Chef Stewart over at the Glass Knife. And so we all did a course and kind of collaborated on that. And it was just amazing. It was so much fun. And having all our favorite guests, the diehard Soco fans, we're all here that night. And that was a beautiful thing. And I hope we're able to do something like that again soon. But that is just another way that we like to kind of bridge out and embrace the community. And so what better way than having other great chefs from restaurants that we appreciate come and join us here at ours.
Yeah, it was really, really quite the experience. I know we still got one of the menus from that, I think, hanging on the fridge.
You need a frame. Yeah, you got to get a frame for the wall.
We'll work on that. We'll get the frame. I'll show you that. So I know you've got a little bio on the website, which has some of your culinary background, but was there a point you can remember, say, in childhood, or just at some point in your life where it came to you and you're like, all right, this is really what I want to do?
Yep. I was 14, and I announced to my parents, I want to be a chef when I grow up. And Mom thought that was a great idea. She says, oh, good. Now I can come to your restaurant and eat whenever I want. Of course, she doesn't live in town, so it's tough for her to do. But yep, all my birthdays when I was younger like that, for me, what you wanted to do for your birthday? I want to go to X fancy restaurant in town. And so when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, my birthday was, I want to go to the nice restaurant in town and check out what the chefs were doing there. And I started working at about age of 15 as a dishwasher, this little local place. And I just learned good work ethic, and I got promoted to being a cook and worked there for a couple more years until I graduated high school and went to culinary school, and it's history from there.
Nice. Let's see. Okay. So you'd mentioned your parents are far away. You actually originally from Texas, right?
Born in Texas, mostly grew up in Georgia though. From about second grade on, I lived in Georgia. After I got out of high school, family moved back to Texas.
Okay.
But I stuck behind. So yeah, I stayed in Georgia for a little while after that, up until about I don't want to give all these years away. Let people know how old I am.
We don't need to know the exact year.
No, we don't know that.
You're only 25 anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I'm about to be 30. So yeah, then I moved out to Hawaii. I lived out there for a while, and then almost 4 years, and then I moved out to here to to Orlando.
Awesome.
Been here. Yeah.
And it's, I mean, so '05, 2015, even over the last 5 years, Orlando has grown tremendously. Have you seen that in any manner affect the business with all the population growth here in Orlando?
Well, I tell you, where I used to work when I moved here, we opened up Roy's Restaurant. So I will say that I moved to Orlando in 2000, and that's when I opened up the Roy's Restaurant. I was at, like I said, I was with Roy's Restaurant in Hawaii. I was at the original one with Roy, where he worked every day. And when I came out here, we opened it up, and it was busy. We had a huge, I mean, we did very well, whether it was with the locals, over there in the Bay Hill and the Eisworld area, and then the convention area from the iDrive business travelers and tourists. That was a big part of the business too. And so between those two, we were very, very busy. But the business is very different there than it is over here where I am now in Thornton Park. We have a tiny fraction of, travelers. We're almost, I don't know if I had to guess, we're 95% locals and just regulars. So it's very different. So in some terms, I don't experience the growth of Orlando in the same way in terms of my business. There are some condominiums and new homes being built there in Thornton Park, and I'm excited for that because that'll add some more population density to what I'm sure will be, my core market here in Thornton Park. But I have noticed for sure just a lot of great restaurants opening up. That there's when we first opened up out there in Sand Lake Road, there was very few restaurants that are open now. There was a couple old school places that have been around, and a couple of them still are. But you didn't have if you could think of 5 restaurants that are really very popular right now, none of them are open. So, but there's a lot of great chefs in Orlando now. There's a lot of talent out there, and it's a great community, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's one thing. As from the outside, I know I've noticed the evolution of the Orlando food scene, if you will, and I think a lot of people that don't know about Orlando just think about the tourist area, which there's some great stuff down there as well. But
Yep.
Kind of like you hit on, Thornton Park is more of a locals area, so it's not necessarily an area where the tourists will be drawn to. So I always make an effort to let people know when they're visiting, hey, come try this area.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Fun. Yeah, definitely. But the food scene here is, I don't know if you remember, there was a critic 3-4 years ago, I want to say, that some national critic, that he made some disparaging mark about the Orlando food scene.
I remember that.
And I can't remember who he was, but there was like a huge backlash. And then I guess somebody invited the guy to their restaurant, and he quickly changed his tune.
Yeah, that was insulting. I enjoyed that guy's show, and I've actually briefly met him one time, long time back. I don't think he probably just kind of said it off the cuff. I don't know that he put a lot of thought into it. It was probably, he just said it, like whatever. But that's the thing, is that was just kind of the way he generally thought of it, And so it was a little careless on his part, But I think after he had that pointed out to him, he probably took a better look and then reevaluated that. I didn't see him over here at my place coming to beg for my forgiveness, but he did he did go by a couple other places here, and people, and visited with them. So that's cool. It's good though that he kind of retracted that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, assuming at some point things return to normal, hopefully sooner than later, do you guys have any plans for anything instituted at the restaurant? Any future ideas there? I know the beverage program, it seems like Tim is usually kind of amping things up there for you guys with the cocktails and such.
At this point, we're just trying to ease back into it like everybody else. Any big major plans are definitely on hold for now. We want to just make sure that guests feel comfortable coming back out. Certainly, we're taking care of as many safety protocols as we can do to make sure people feel comfortable. So we're doing all of those things. And, to say that we're open up for 50% occupancy doesn't really affect us that much, because we would have to fill a lot of seats at one time to hit 50%. And, nobody goes out to eat all at once as it is, right? Everybody, you kind of spread. Of course, you can make the joke that everybody wants to eat at 7:30, right? But for the most part, you open at 5, you go from 5 to 10, and or actually currently we're at 5 to 9 actually. So we did modify our hours, but people are spread out. But the point being, we need to continue to expand before I think we see a huge difference, because I think most of it is just a mentality. When we went from 25 to 50%, I think a lot of people started to feel, okay, it's a little more safe to eat out now. And really that's fine. If they don't feel like eating out, we're still doing takeout. So we've still got them covered. If they don't feel comfortable eating out, well, that's perfectly fine. We're happy to, put some food to go. But I do think that when they go to 75%, that should help. And I think a few more people will poke their heads out and say, okay, let's give it a try. And then, if they eventually, hopefully, they definitely need to get to some point 100%, then people, I think it's just a confidence. I think it's just a matter of consumer confidence being like, okay, we can go out now. So I really don't think that it's good for us. Like, I'm hopeful that they're not going to say, oh, don't go out until there's a vaccine. That could be a year, or who knows, maybe more, right? With no idea. I don't know. A lot of places can last that long. Yeah. But, this was started off, it was, all right, y'all, we're going to do a 14-day or 15-day quarantine. And we're probably pushing 70 right now. So we need to get things loosened up if we want businesses to survive. But in the same time, we're doing it in a safe way. We're taking precautions, making sure that our guests as well as our staff are safe. So that's what we're doing. We're doing our part.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining me today. Hopefully everybody really, really liked this. I know you divulged a lot of really good information there. For those that have not been to Soco before, how can they find you guys?
Well, we're at 629 East Central Boulevard. We're in Thornton Park. We're just a block or so away from Lake Eola. Some people don't know that we have parking right in the building. In the building that we're in, there's parking back there. So there definitely is that parking there. SocoThorntonPark.com. You can check us out on Instagram or at Facebook, or you can catch me on either one of those platforms as well. I'm Chef Greg Richie on Instagram, Greg Richie on Facebook. And so between those two things, we try to keep some interesting content up there, maybe sometimes some cooking demos or some, different things here and there, just to pique your interest. Come check us out.
I'll say firsthand, it works, especially your Instagram. You guys do some good posts on there.
Awesome. Thanks so much. John, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Chef.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.